Well, I saw an interesting little article in my feed today. Took me a little while to get my thoughts together on this, but regardless, you'll see this title right off the bat. Well, North Korea already has nuclear capabilities, but okay, let's give this one a free pass. Anyway, moving further down this article, you can see this here. Now, many people I know, myself included, never had to deal with the Cold War, but given what I know of history, it led to some uneasy moments in history. Now, I'm aware North Korea is nothing like the USSR. I'm not even going to attempt to draw that comparison. However, many would say that Kim isn't exactly mentally stable either, and the understanding that attacking the U.S. would lead to inevitable destruction isn't out of the realm of understanding for him not to understand. But unlike with the US and the USSR in the past, the MAD doctrine isn't in effect in the same capacity here. But I digress. Let's continue. I did find the next part to be interesting as well. Now, not that long ago, they were testing ICBMs. By they, I mean North Korea, some of which flying over South Korea and landing in Japan's sea, and others, Kim stated himself, could hit anywhere in the US and can possibly tote a bigger payload than previous models. Of course, this is assuming that what he's saying is accurate and that he's not lying, but moving on. So essentially reaching out an olive branch while simultaneously brandishing a nuclear football in the other hand. This is an interesting turn of events, to say the least. But the offhanded comment about the US is still here. He's exclaiming that the button is always on his desk, to put it in his own words. Considering the severe disparity between the amount of nuclear armaments and technology in the general between the US and North Korea, I'd have to warn Kim that that would be a very unwise decision. But there are other issues to be addressed here, namely the concept of a submarine-fired missile, and despite that being a larger feat than simply firing one off the back of a truck, you can see here they're developing this technology. So what's to be done? Ignore the issue or address it? Only after the first swing has been brought down, many would argue for one side or the other. But let us continue. Some of you may be asking who this Nikki Haley is. Well, she's the U.S. ambassador for the UN. But with that out of the way, what of what she said, more importantly the part where she says, and I quote, "We won't take any of the talk seriously if they don't do something to ban all nuclear weapons in North Korea." At face value, this may just seem like outright slapping North Korea's hand away, but keep in mind, nuclear weapons are still being developed, and it's very difficult to take peace talk seriously while the guy next door to you is building fucking bombs in his basement. Am I saying that peace talk shouldn't happen? Of course not. But I agree that they shouldn't happen while North Korea keeps creating nuclear weapons and simultaneously trying to have a staring contest with the US, and while also developing further technology down the road of becoming even more of a nuclear power. But I'm aware national politics are messy business, and I'm not pretending to be a political pundit, but I like to believe I have some semblance of common sense. And this last line makes a lot of sense to me. However, one could argue that Kim could just claim that they banned their nuclear weapons and continue to develop them anyway. However, I'm more concerned with stopping them from getting the ability to fire nuclear weapons from submarines, because as it is, and as it stands at this moment, North Korea would simply lose if armaments were exchanged. I do believe that in regards to if they have submarines, they'll realize that they can do far more damage far faster with submarines than they could have done with traditional ICBMs, because as it is now, they fire an ICBM from North Korea, it has to travel across the Pacific in order for it to land in the US, and of course it gives the US time to not only retaliate with their own ballistic missiles, but also gives us time to prepare ourselves, or even in certain cases to simply shoot the missile down. Whereas if the missile is launched from, we'll say, just off the coast of New York City or the Washington, D.C. area, it's going to be the amount of time that the U.S. would have to retaliate is significantly less. Of course, you could also extend this to even more dire situation where a simultaneous attack took place off of the coast of several large coastal cities, such as New York City, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, Portland. You name a city along the coastline that's major, and it could very easily be a target in this situation. Of course, this is with the understanding that North Korea doesn't have this technology yet. The keyword being yet. And I'd much rather be on the side that acts before we get shot rather than the side that waits until we get shot before we act. But then again, I'm also an isolationist, and I try to avoid getting involved with countries altogether. However, it is an issue that needs to be addressed, and simply ignoring it and brushing it under the rug isn't going to do anything about it. And I can understand where South Korea is coming from as well in this situation, seeing as, well, yes, we are, U.S. is North Korea's, essentially big bad boogeyman. South Korea is far closer and a far easier freaking target than we are. But I digress. That'll do it for this video. And back to my usual schedule. So Wednesday I will have a guest on for a live stream. Thursday we'll have a video. And, well, if something happens for the next couple of days, I'll leave it in my Twitter. And you guys be able to figure it out from there, I hope. Anyway, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and or night. I'll see you glorious cunts tomorrow.